Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the hidden details, kind of secretive little things you might have missed within the announcement yesterday where Rockstar stated that 2 DLCs were going to be coming in Grand Theft Auto Online very soon. Now, before we get started, I do apologize for the slight echo you might hear. I just moved into my new house, like literally 48 hours ago. Not all the furniture's here, and my office doesn't have all the equipment it needs to be soundproof, like a studio, but we're getting there. So bear with me, guys. I'm still making videos for you guys, and some very exciting news, like I said, dropped today. Rockstar basically came out and said new updates are coming soon. And I want to talk about, like I said, some of the things you might have missed from that announcement. So the first thing I want to point out doesn't come from the 2 images that were shown, but comes from one of the paragraphs Rockstar wrote. And this one has to do with one of the organization DLCs that look to be coming out. So the very first line was, in the successor to executives and other criminals, embark on, and this is all in bold, further adventures in finance and felony. And the last time Rockstar did something like that was the newswire right before Ill-Gotten Gains came out, where they stated, like, get ready to spend your heist money on ill-gotten gains. And at the time, we didn't know that was the DLC that we're going to be doing. So is that a hint towards the DLC name, Adventures and Finance and Felony? You know, that could be pretty cool. I think that would be awesome in Grand Theft Auto Online. Or maybe it's something different. Maybe it's just Finance and Felony or something along those lines. But I think Rockstar wouldn't bold that for no reason. They would not put emphasis on those 2 words or those 4 or 5 words if it really didn't mean anything. Let me know what you guys think the DLC for the organization and drug dealing one is going to be in the comment section. That's just something I noticed when I was looking at the newswire. However, let's start with image number 1, and this has to do with the insane stunt courses and races that you can create all over Los Santos and Blaine County. So in this image right here, there's a few things I noticed. You can obviously tell the 2 cars that are not in the tubes. One of them is a yellow vehicle and one of them is an orange vehicle. And I apologize for the quality of the image. This is the best image quality that Rockstar provided, which I think is kind of unfortunate. So the yellow car and the orange car, I think, are the Cheetah and the T20. However, there's a few other cars that can be spotted in the inner tube, or whatever sort of like American flag style tube this is. One of them can be seen off to the right. It's more of a green car. I'm not exactly sure what this vehicle is. I'm kind of torn between either an Osiris or a Turismo, but if you guys have any idea what these cars are, again, leave them in the comment section down below. But a lot of people didn't see that car when they first looked at that screenshot. And also you can see on the bottom left, there's a blue car that looks to have just gotten in the tube as well. And I'm not exactly sure what that vehicle is. Again, I'm guessing it's another supercar. I don't believe it's a new one. I'm not exactly sure Rockstar would sneak in something like that in a screenshot like this. But if you can let me know what kind of cars those are, it might give us a better idea of what vehicles we can expect to use in these stunt races. Now, looking at the kind of course itself, this is obviously the Maze Bank building, and this thing looks to be wrapping around it straight from the sky. So one thing I noticed, and that a bunch of other people pointed out as well, is inside of those tubes, it's not just hollow. You can kind of see a T-like structure where there's a bar that runs vertically and half a bar that runs horizontally. So maybe inside of these tubes or these courses, there's going to be obstacles that you ultimately are going to have to avoid. Maybe some are in the shape of triangles, maybe some are in T patterns like that. Maybe some of them will move from side to side or up and down. So you've really got to be careful through how you go throughout all of them. And another thing I notice is the theme of the tubing itself. It really does look like an American flag, red, white, and blue with the white stars. And a bunch of people have been saying maybe this is going to come out during some sort of Independence Day, because Rockstar, as we'll talk about in a little later, they said weeks and months ahead. So I know that would be stretching it, and obviously we wouldn't want to wait that long to see a new DLC come out, but maybe this has something to do with an Independence Day theme or something like that, maybe like 4th of July for those of us in the United States. So if you guys can see anything else in this screenshot, please do let me know, but I think that pretty much covers it in terms of what can be seen here as far as the cars and the courses go. But one thing we also need to look at comes from the description Rockstar stated of the stunt races. So they go on to give a quick little paragraph about cunning stunts and something you're going to be able to do. And they go on to say, expect a slew, which is an interesting word, of new stunt-ready vehicles and gear. So this is interesting, and this is where I'm going to be doing a little bit of speculation. Obviously, I don't know. Again, some of the things in this video are going to be like pointing out hidden things. Some of it's going to be my speculation, which is where I'd love to hear from you guys as well in the comment section to kind of help me out on this. So I'm confused because when they say expect a slew of new stunt-ready vehicles, does this mean like new supercars and new sports cars added in the game? Or does it mean new modifications at either Benny's or the Los Santos Custom Shop that are going to be required to make a vehicle ready for a stunt race? So I actually think it might be both. I think that Rockstar with the stunt race update is going to add maybe 1 or 2 new supercars that are going to be stunt ready. And then if you want to make your existing supercar stunt ready, you'll maybe have to take it to the LSC or Benny's and turn it into a stunt car where it maybe gets like a roll cage, some upgrades, something like that. I'm really not too sure. And they also mentioned gear. I'm not sure if this is gear for the vehicles or gear for your character itself. I don't know if you guys have like ever seen Evel Knievel dress up, but he gets in like a funny suit and he gets a helmet on. So maybe we might be getting like racing gear and racing attire for doing stunts and whatnot. I think that would be pretty nifty for our characters and would obviously be really awesome in Grand Theft Auto Online to be able to truly experience these stunt races in style and proper fashion. All right, so now let's move on to the second part of this update, and that is going to be the kind of extension or successor to executives and other criminals. So the first thing we know is it looks like that the information that FunMW2 found regarding the VIP works and the VIP coding is exactly what's going to be coming in this DLC, because there's coding for headquarters, for buying and selling, and all of that is mentioned in the description of this DLC by Rockstar. And we also know that there is supposed to be a personal assistant. So let's go ahead and take a look at this screenshot right here. And speaking of the personal assistant, is that the lady in the center standing up? So we can't tell if this is going to be the 4th character, if this is going to take place in 4s. There's 3 people sitting on the couch. That lady seems to be standing up and maybe addressing the entire group. That's kind of why I'm thinking that she might be the personal assistant. Who really knows? I guess we'll find out when this DLC actually arrives, but I do think that would be pretty cool for Rockstar to kind of sneak that in there to see if we could figure it out. The next bit, where are these headquarters going to be located for your organization and for your warehouse? I would have to imagine that the headquarters and the warehouses are going to be separate. I would imagine that the screenshot we're looking at right now is the headquarters. You can clearly see it's very, very nice. You've got this, luxury style interior, this really nice computer and desk. And then I'm guessing the warehouses would be many of the already created industrial zones in Los Santos, whether they would just be big open garages or maybe underground places that you would have to go to. However, I think these look pretty cool, and I think they're going to be separate from the apartments. That's something I saw that, is this just another floor on your penthouse? No, I think that these are separate, districts and separate entities within kind of downtown Los Santos's corporate entourage. So I think they're going to be in buildings like the FIB, other taller skyscrapers in Los Santos, which is pretty cool because we don't get a giant view from the outside, but what we can tell is the one building we can see, which is kind of a sliver off to the left of the computer, we're already really higher than that. So it certainly looks like we're in high rises and whatnot, which would be extremely cool. I'm going to be doing a little bit of speculating now. Is the stock market going to be opening? This seems to be the perfect opportunity to open something like this. Maybe instead of businesses being on the stock market, it's our own organizations and corporations that get on the stock market. I mean, Rockstar says we want to embark further in finances and felony, and it's a great feature in single player, and I'd obviously love to see it in online. So that's obviously a question that has been asked. Will the stock market be added in the game? I personally doubt it, just because Rockstar haven't done it previously, and that would be a very bold introduction into this DLC, but I certainly would love that, and that would be a nice welcome surprise. And also, another thing I want to talk about is something they stated on the Newswire, which was manage inventory directly from your HQ, arranging to buy and sell anything from jewels to narcotics to medical supplies from a range of nefarious suppliers. Are we going to be seeing some more single-player characters make an appearance in this DLC? Similar to the Heist update, where Ron and obviously Trevor made another appearance. We had Agent 14. We have Michelle, the FIB agent. So I know that was a big DLC, but there are a lot of drug dealer suppliers in single-player. Trevor is one of them. You've obviously got the O'Neill brothers. You've got, I think it was Omega or Ortega, someone like that. He was like the, a Latino drug dealer, whatever the case was in Sandy Shores. Will we see someone like that? Will we see someone like Lamar or Gerald? All these questions will be answered going forward, but I'd love to see some familiar faces from single player in online for this update. And another thing I kind of thought of was a lot of people are expecting to make a lot of money with this update. Obviously, you're buying and selling drugs, but I think there's going to be an upfront cost here. Rockstar do this with everything. They do this with Heist. They do this with, customizing lowriders. They make you do that initial fee and bennies before you can even add anything to your car. So I think that there's going to be an upfront fee, whether it's in the form of your warehouse or your headquarters, or each mission, it costs money to plan and execute and get the personnel to do it. I don't think you're just going to be like snapping your fingers and saying, okay, sell those drugs, let's make money, let's put it in the bank, and we're good to go. I think there's going to be a little bit more of a process here, but I still think it is going to be a very profitable update, which is pretty fantastic. I think this one might be a little bit of a stretch, but if we return back to the photo, this image comes from a desk view, like almost someone is sitting at the desk. And this computer has a SecuroServe login. So maybe instead of just using your phone, if you're in your headquarters, you could use this fancy computer setup to manage your inventory or buy and sell. So you know how if you use a laptop in game, you just hover over it? It would be cool if you actually sat down on the computer, kind of like I'm doing right now, recording this commentary, and actually kind of be in the position of an executive who runs this headquarters. That's asking for a lot, but that would be some epic realism that I think would certainly be pretty cool. And now let's talk about the release dates. Everyone wants to know when this is going to be coming out. So Rockstar only mentioned one thing about the release of these updates. They stated that the updates are going to be coming out in the weeks and months ahead, which is the most broad and general statement ever. So by weeks, do they mean within the month, by the end of May? By months, do they mean 3 or 4 months from now when we won't be seeing something like this? My optimistic view for this is we might see, I'm guessing, these stunt races at the end of May or sometime during May, and then either June or July, we see this further advances in finance and felony organization and other criminals part 2 DLC. That's kind of my optimistic viewpoint. Of a more pessimistic side, maybe we don't end up seeing the stunt races until June. Maybe the criminal one until August. Again, we have no clue. Rockstar is the king of making broad statements when it comes to releases, and this right here is certainly no exception. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is something I saw that people were kind of getting not really upset about, but they were a little bit worried about what was going on. And that was the fact that Rockstar stated they were going to be adding more adversary modes and keep doing the update weeks. So this is purely going to be filler content. I 100% guarantee you that. And don't get upset if this Friday, 3 days from now, if they do another update week that might include new adversary mode maps. I think they're doing it for a reason. I think it's because it's easy. All they have to do is update tunables, which probably takes 5 minutes on a computer. So do not be discouraged if you don't see this DLC immediately. And if this is something that doesn't come out in a week or so, and if Rockstar decides to do an update week or two before any of this comes out. So it seems like that's clearly going to be their thing going forward, the Friday through Thursday theme. But who really knows? It could be coming out sooner than we think. It could be coming out much later than we think. But I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. I've already made this video way too long than it probably should have been. But there was just a lot of details and things that I wanted to talk about just based off of the few paragraphs that Rockstar introduced, and also based off the 2 screenshots that we've been given so far. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. If If you did go on to enjoy the video, a like rating would of course be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With out of the way, guys, like I said, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.